With 2023 nearing its end, now might be a good time to keep a tab on all the upcoming exciting Netflix originals. In this video, we will take you through some of the major sci-fi and horror movies lined up for a potential 2024 release, and we will bring you everything there is to know about these projects. While there have been several promising sci-fi Netflix originals this year, horror hasn't been the strongest genre for Netflix in a while, with the likes of Universal and Paramount stealing the show. And the coming year might just introduce the change in this tradition. Let's play the waiting game and find out. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. The Deliverance. The Netflix original is easily one of the most anticipated horror flicks of 2024. The story is based on the real-life story of Latoya Ammons and her family, which became a topic of great debate in the US back in 2014. The family claimed that they fell victim to an unexplained demonic possession, and this nightmarish ordeal lasted 2 years for them. It started with strange sounds from the basement and unusually large swarms of flies in the porch, and went on to become far more serious when the children got affected as well. Their haunting experience is the subject of the movie, and Lee Daniels has handled both the script and direction. The Deliverance is one of Netflix's big-budget ventures, because the rights alone reportedly cost them a whopping $65 million. It was initially titled Demon House when the movie was first announced, but the name was changed in order to avoid confusion with a 2018 movie by the same name. We have high hopes from this horror flick, because the man in charge, Lee Daniels, has previously worked in an Academy Award-winning film, Precious. The cast comprises Andra Day, who plays the role of the mother of the children who were reportedly possessed. She will be supported by Monique and Rob Morgan in key roles. The release date hasn't been announced yet, but it is safe to assume that the movie will premiere on Netflix in the second half of 2024.
The price is dear.
Damsel, March 2024. The fantasy film written by Dan Mazeau offers an interesting twist in the damsel in distress theme. It tells the story of an epic adventure where a princess is on her own, facing against a dragon. She doesn't have the helping hand of a prince, and it is going to border on the idea of a modern-day woman surviving on her own. The protagonist grows up like any other pampered princess, nurtured by her father, until her marriage changes the course of her life. What seemed like a fairy tale wedding with a handsome prince soon turns into a nightmare after the princess discovers that she will be sacrificed by her new royal family to pay an ancient debt. She is thrown into a cave in order to be prey for a fire-breathing dragon, and it will be her skills and her that come to her rescue. Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things fame will be up against a very different kind of monster as she takes on the role of the princess in this movie. The director Juan Carlos revealed that the actress has taken a step forward in her acting career with this role, which is a challenging take on a strong, independent woman. The other members of the cast include Angela Bassett, who plays her stepmother, and Robin Wright, who slips into the role of her future mother-in-law. The director also seemed quite enthusiastic about the kind of dragon that will be portrayed in the movie, which strays from the norm. But the dragon is not the true evil from what the rumor mongers suggest. Netflix has confirmed that the movie will premiere on the 28th of March 2024, and this might be a truly exciting fantasy drama to watch out for. Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver, April 2024. Zack Snyder and an action-packed sci-fi adventure seem like a mouth-watering prospect, and that is precisely the reason for the craze behind his epic space adventure Rebel Moon. The story is about a soldier named Cora who finds peace in a quiet farming community in Velt. She wants to leave behind her past life, fighting for the tyrannical royal empire, Imperium, that seeks dominance of the galaxy. However, she soon finds out that the old habits die hard when the community is threatened by a sadistic admiral who is following the orders of the leader of the Imperium. While Part 1 is slated for a 21st December release, the fans are already preparing to embrace Part 2, which is also in the pipeline. When asked about his ambitious project, Snyder spoke about how he wanted to put together a group of misfits who find a cause to fight a great force of evil. In his words, they're all healing and finding a place to belong. It's a movie about finding a family. The movie is entirely based on his imagination, and he has handled everything from set designs to the language. The makers had to come up with some distinct languages for the movie, and even the props and costuming needed special attention. The director has also promised loads of action and some super cool weapons. This epic saga is supported by a solid cast, where you will see actors like Mikael Heisman, Charlie Hunnam, and Jimon Hunsu in action. There is also the Oscar winner Anthony Hopkins, who is the voiceover artist for a robotic knight named Jimmy. Thankfully, we wouldn't have to wait too long for Part 2, The Scargiver, which will take the story forward and is supposed to release on the 19th of April, 2024. Atlas. The sci-fi thriller has been in the making for quite some time now, since it was announced back in 2021, starring singer and actor Jennifer Lopez. This Netflix original is being directed by Rampage Brad Payton. It is based on a script by Lock and Key fame Aaron Eli Khalid, and the movie follows a woman named Atlas, who is the last hope for humanity in a brutal war in an apocalyptic future. She is an intelligence officer with years of experience in tracking down intergalactic terrorists. Now, she is up against an AI soldier gone rogue, who seeks to eliminate mankind entirely, and in order to combat this threat, she has to team up with what she is the most apprehensive about, another AI tool. Speaking about this upcoming movie, the director has gone gaga over the opportunity to direct someone as talented as Jennifer Lopez, who plays the protagonist. He is convinced that her acting skills will do justice to this multi-dimensional role, and he is quite optimistic about the response that the movie will get. It will be one of the many promising projects for Jennifer Lopez's New York Productions and Netflix coming together. Alongside Jennifer Lopez, the movie also stars Simu Liu, Sterling K. Brown, and Lana Parrilla. With the right production values and effects, the film has the potential to be a surprise package for 2024. The Electric State. When Simon Stålenhag came up with the graphic novel back in 2018, it was widely appreciated by the critics and fans. It is not surprising that such a compelling story with a dystopian setting is being adapted by Netflix and the Russo brothers. Joe and Anthony are in charge of direction. The story is set in an alternate reality of 1997, where a devastating war has destroyed most of the United States. In this post-apocalyptic landscape, several threats make life difficult for the survivors of the war. However, a young girl who is looking for her younger brother must brave all the odds and set out for an epic adventure across the country. Luckily for her, she will probably not be alone in this quest. The story might sound familiar, considering the tons of dystopian movies and shows we have experienced. Pitting a young protagonist against a hostile world is a comforting trope, but what sets this movie apart is the unique world building, which Simon Stålenhag will have to be credited for. The Russo brothers in the director's seat means that we have guaranteed action, and if the execution is done right, The Electric State might end up being one of the most watched movies on Netflix next year. The casting is also flawless with the young talent Millie Bobby Brown in the mix of things alongside Chris Pratt. We cannot entirely rule out a limited theatrical release, but it is quite certain that the movie will premiere on Netflix sometime in 2024. Code 8, Part 2. The sci-fi fans will surely remember the brilliant storytelling of Code 8 back in 2019. This Canadian sci-fi drama told the story of an alternate world where people with superpowers are marginalized and discriminated against. One such man with special powers works with a group of criminals in order to be able to afford the treatment of his sick mother, but the consequences are terrifying. After the grand success of the movie, Netflix announced Code 8 Part 2, and finally, 2024 is when we will get to enjoy the sequel. Back in 2019, Code 8 was a crowd-funded sensation, and few expected it to be as successful and popular as it became. For the sequel, the story will pick up from exactly where it left off. The two main characters, Connor Reed and Garrett Kelton, had parted ways at the end of the first movie, but now they will be back together again following certain events. The good news is that Robbie Amell and Stephen Amell will reprise their roles, and the director Jeff Chan has high hopes for this venture. He is intrigued about how the character of Connor, a noble person at heart forced to go the wrong way, will unfold in the new movie, and the director also revealed that the protagonist will have to face the consequences of his previous actions. After being released from prison, Connor decides to have no further ties with Garrett, but after helping a 14-year-old being targeted by corrupt cops, fate has other things planned for Connor. Besides being a thorough entertainer, Code 8 Part 2 is all set to ask some serious questions about the modern world, and it will also touch upon the subject of AI and robotics. With such exciting prospects, it might be an agonizing wait for the movie, but it will be worth your patience for sure. God Country. God Country is based on an underrated Image Comics creation from Jeff Shaw, Jason Wording, and Donny Cates. The comic series traces the life of an elderly widower who lives in Texas and suffers from dementia. His life changes completely after he comes across an enchanted sword in the eye of a tornado. His dementia is cured, but there are greater problems that he must deal with now. The magical sword has also summoned some otherworldly creatures, and he has to fight these powerful monstrosities. The fantasy sci-fi drama is directed by Jim Mickle, the showrunner for Netflix's Sweet Tooth. It is always tricky business to adapt comic book stories, but Netflix has always been ambitious in this regard. However, the progress of God Country has been considerably slow, following its announcement in December 2021. That being said, there is plenty to look forward to. Jim Mickle will be assisted by one of the authors of the comic book, Donny Cates, which should add the much-needed authenticity to the movie. We also expect top-notch production values, with the likes of Legendary Entertainment and Aftershock Media being involved with the film. There is no concrete news about the cast yet, because everything is being kept under the wraps. But we are hopeful for a 2024 release, and this underrated Image Comics plot might just become a rage among the fans. Spaceman. The upcoming sci-fi drama is based on the novel Spaceman of Bohemia by Yaroslav Kalfin. It tells the story of an astronaut who is sent to the far reaches of the galaxy to collect some ancient dust. His life of solitude takes a toll on him as he falls apart mentally, and there comes an unexpected rescuer in the form of an extraterrestrial creature. This alien entity takes up residence on his spaceship, and it has the appearance of a giant spider, hopefully with no ill intention. Apparently, the creature existed since the beginning of time, and their adventures will become the crux of this movie. Space movies have become quite popular in the recent past, and a number of them have explored the toll it takes on human minds after years-long missions and spacefaring. Adam Sandler finally seems to have taken up a role that he deserves. After his recent performance in You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah, he plays the role of a protagonist, and Carey Mulligan plays the role of his pregnant wife, who he has to leave back on Earth. Paul Dano is another notable member of the cast, and the direction duties have been handed to the Swedish director, Johan Renck. A specific date for the movie hasn't been announced yet, but we are all positive about a 2024 release. BioShock. Games being adapted into live-action movies have always been a hit or miss in the industry. We have enjoyed some successful adaptations, such as Silent Hill and Mortal Kombat, and there have been some abysmal failures as well. The latest to embrace the challenge is BioShock, an ambitious project by Netflix, where they wish to recreate the incredible world and aesthetics that we witnessed in the game. The 2007 game was instantly popular among the fans because of the deep lore featuring the underwater city of Rapture and some interesting characters. The city was created by a free market capitalist, but when the city is thrown into anarchy, there is plundering, violence, and rivalry, making it a dystopian world. Previously, there have been a few attempts to make a movie out of it, but none of them materialized until Netflix took up the project in 2022. The screenwriter for the live-action movie, Michael Green, revealed in an interview that the development of the project is headed in the right direction. In his words, the movie is going to pan out like a big, sprawling nightmare, and that is exactly what the fans of the game would hope for. The story is probably going to follow the first two games in the franchise, but there has been no news on the casting so far. We are keen to experience how the movie handles the adaptation of two unique entities from the game, Big Daddies and Little Sisters. Their presence has been confirmed, and it will probably be done using practical efforts with actors in a suit. With the probability of a 2024 release quite high for this one, we will bring you more updates once further details are available. I Am Not Alone. After a heated bidding war, Netflix finally got the rights for I Am Not Alone, which is based on a short story by Chris Hicks. The reportedly six-figure deal is being taken very seriously, and Netflix has already starred Jessica Chastain in the main role. The story revolves around a mother who suffers from extreme migraines. In this unbearable pain, she can see creatures that others cannot, and now she must protect her young daughter against these unseen threats. But are these creatures real, or are they just a part of her hallucinations? Well, you need to check out the movie to find the answers. While development on the project is largely being kept under the wraps, we are quite excited about Jessica Chastain in the lead role. She has previously proved her credentials in The Good Nurse, Armageddon Time, and many other widely acclaimed projects. The remaining members of the cast are expected to be announced soon. Another promising prospect is roping in Misha Green to write the screenplay, because we are already familiar with her work in Lovecraft Country, Sons of Anarchy, and Underground. Creature horror is quite popular among the fans, but we hope that the production values do justice to the creature designs for this potential 2024 showstopper. Fear Street 4. R.L. Stine is a special name for all the horror fans out there, and the Fear Street franchise managed to do justice to his incredible works. The fans have something new to celebrate after Netflix has confirmed that Fear Street 4 is in production. Those who are familiar with Fear Street movies will recall that the story featuring the main characters has been wrapped up. So, what's it going to be for Fear Street 4? Well, rumors have it that the story could explore various serial killers from Shadyside's bloody history. It could also end up being a direct sequel starring the adult versions of the young characters in the previous movie. Fear Street is known for its unique storyline, where a group of teenagers try to survive the curse of a powerful witch in the small town of Shadyside. One of the townsmen ends up getting possessed, and they go on a violent killing spree. and Fear Street 3 ensures a closure of this curse, or so we thought. As of now, nothing is known about the actors or the crew for the movie, but Fear Street director Lee Yaniak has revealed his keen interest in continuing the franchise. There are also some rumors that suggest the possibility of some cast members from previous movies returning in some capacity. If the movie does go on the floors in 2024, it will be a fun addition to the long line of horror and sci-fi Netflix originals for the year.
My name's Orion, and I'm afraid. Afraid of what, you want to know?
Orion in the Dark, February 2024. After all these horrifying and mind-bending movies, we thought it might be a good idea to end things on a lighter note. Orion in the Dark is a heartwarming, upcoming animated fantasy sci-fi drama, which takes you on a journey alongside Orion, a young boy. He is terrified of the dark and hesitant about the unfamiliar world, but this nervous young boy is all set to be a part of an adventure that will rid his fears once and for all. What if darkness is much less scary than what Orion had assumed, and an embodiment of darkness is a part of his journey? The movie comes with a valuable message. Looking at what scares you right in the eye might just rid you of your fears. This animated movie is based on a book by Emma Yarlett, and from the looks of it, the film is going to be realistic and relatable, with an average elementary school kid as the protagonist. Watch him get rid of his irrational fears through the colorful lenses of detailed animation, which we can assume will be top-notch going by the budget. The movie stars Jacob Tremblay as the voice of Orion, and Paul Walter Hauser plays Dark. It has been confirmed that we will get a 2024 release for this movie, so prepare for a feel-good experience through a childish yet mature story, with horror and sci-fi being two of the most popular genres. Success in these areas often determines the popularity of a streaming platform, and the movies we just discussed might just be a game changer for Netflix. Do let us know in the comments below which one of these projects you are most excited for. Also, don't forget to tell us about any particular movie that we might have skipped while attempting to give you a glimpse into the future.